welcome back. I'm Melissa Pineda, and today I will be discussing the book Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. This book was published in 1985, but it is still very relevant to today. Why would you want to read it? Well, it definitely gives you food for thought. It makes you pause and sort of just think about the media that we're consuming, what we're watching, why we're watching it, and what this means for society, but for ourselves as well. And if you're a parent, for your kids. Before I begin though, if there's anything today that you hear that you like, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, I will dive right in. According to Mr. Postman, this book is an inquiry into and a lamentation about the most important American cultural fact of the second half of the 20th century, which is the decline of the age of typography and the rise of the age of TV. So he's saying that the question of whether or not TV shapes culture or merely reflects it isn't valid anymore. So does TV actually shape culture or reflect it used to be a valid question. But he's saying that the question has largely disappeared as TV has become our culture. So we talk about its content, what's on TV, instead of talking about what it actually means, like what TV is conveying, what it means to be provided with the majority of the information or entertainment through this method. He says that when news is packaged as entertainment, it alters the meaning of being informed. Mr. Postman says that it provides disinformation. So the information that TV is providing is not false. He's saying it's misleading information though. Superficial information which gives the illusion of knowing something. It's not doing this on purpose, he says, but TV focuses on entertaining people instead of informing people. Mr. Postman says that we are losing our sense of what it means to be informed. He talks about Aldous Huxley, the author of A Brave New World, and he says that Western democracies, so he's quoting from Huxley right now, that Western democracies will dance and dream themselves into oblivion rather than march single file into it or be forced into it. So it's not necessary to conceal anything in the age in which we're living in. The public has adjusted into incoherence and has become amused into indifference. And he talks about the difference between Aldous Huxley's version of a dystopian future and George Orwell's. So basically, like if you've read either of those books, they have two very different versions of a dystopian future. So George Orwell was more of a worried about doublethink and being controlled by the government, being told what to think, say, specifically think, and this of course happens in different countries, but so this was his concern, that people by force, by fear, were forced to act a certain way and think a certain way. Whereas Aldous Huxley said that force wasn't necessary, that people would just basically do it on their own. And so in this case, Mr. Postman is saying that TV is the soma of Huxley's Brave New World. So the soma is recreational drugs in A Brave New World. So it's very interesting how he makes these connections. He also says that George Orwell feared the politician as a deceiver. So the idea of doublethink, for instance, instead of an entertainer. But it's actually the reverse. So Mr. Postman saying that Aldous Huxley's Brave New World is essentially what has happened to our society and culture. So keep in mind this was written in 1985, but I mean, it could have been written today in 2024. What he's arguing is very relevant to today, very interesting. He says that ignorance is inexcusable in 1985. To be unaware that a technology comes equipped with a program for social change is just not acceptable. It's not excusable. To maintain that technology is neutral or that it's a friend to culture is just plain stupidity. That's what he says. There have been so many different forms of technology that have been created since 1985, different social media apps. Basically, like what he is saying can be applied to today. He says that changes in technology are ideologically laden. If that doesn't ring true, I don't know what does. But I thought, like, when I read that, wow, absolutely, definitely ideologically laden. The solution has to be found in how we watch television, is what he's saying. Shows that are just entertainment are not a threat to us. Things on TV that are just supposed to entertain and make you laugh, like, that's fine. They're doing what they're supposed to do and it's entertaining. He says that things on TV that are supposed to provide information, he speaks specifically about like political debates, for instance, in shows like 60 Minutes. But those shows were supposed to provide information, but have actually turned it into entertainment. That's the threat, because people don't know the difference. They think they're receiving accurate information and the appropriate amount of information to have like an opinion on a topic. And he's saying no, like, people just instead have emotions on a topic because they don't have the proper information, because they're not getting the proper information from TV, although they think they are. He also says that TV users have to understand what the problems are. I mean, you could just say social media users have to understand what the problems are, for instance, seeing teenagers walk around glued to their cell phones. And he says that we have to understand what the problems are and that there has to be a media consciousness. So there's obviously a huge lack of consciousness about the problem. That's his argument. So yeah, I mean, a lot can be related to today, and I thought this book was excellent. So I'm going to leave it there. There's a lot more in the book. If there's anything I've said today that you have found interesting, first, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. So thank you for listening, and until next time, bye.